Welcome to Flourishing Flame, from burning out to burning bright with therapist and coach Leah Brown. Are you a people helper or caregiver, feeling overwhelmed, distant, cynical, and crispy around the edges? Join me to defeat burnout by learning how to manage stress and create deep connective relationships with others so that you can pursue your calling, providing light and warmth to those around you. Hello, everyone. I just want to say welcome to episode 20. I am so excited that we have come this far. I appreciate those of you who have been listening from the beginning and who have been giving encouragement along the way. You are valued, and I just really appreciate the opportunity to bring you this information to help you to continue to serve and love others well as you are going through your daily life. And so I wanted to let you know there are a few changes that are occurring right now. One is a shift in the production of this podcast. I wanted to thank Kristen Chadwick and her team who have produced the first 19 episodes of this podcast. I just want to thank you so much for your encouragement and for your hard work in getting this together, the editing, and even work with the show notes and all of that. I really appreciate you and look forward to continuing to have a relationship with you. And I want to welcome our new show producer, Sam, from Barunda Studios. Sam, so excited to have you and looking forward to a long relationship with you in this podcast. I have more exciting changes that are coming around the corner, but I'm going to save those for later. And the last 9 episodes, we have been looking at understanding yourself through your personality, which is one of the legs of the 3-legged stool that I like to help us to understand our uniqueness, personality, values, and experiences. In this episode, we are going to look at your experiences. Our experiences are like a patchwork quilt. Everything we experience informs us more about who we are. And talking about experiences, it's really 2 parts. The first is what you experience, and the second is how you respond to that experience. When I was studying clinical mental health counseling at Regent University, I had a project that I was working on in one of my classes on understanding culture. I was struck by how each individual is multicultural, if you will, and how each person is different from the moment that we're born. We have different experiences that inform us to our personal culture. Even in a family, there's a difference between parenting styles from the first child to the last. And as it goes through, you've seen those memes, right? This is what a parent of one child would do versus when the parent is responding to their 3rd or 4th or whatever child. Right? The amount of energy that goes into just the smallest things of getting out the door when you have one child is very different. And the things that you want to make sure you have packed and all of that. Even though these memes or stories are not necessarily true in all cases, there's enough of a truth to it that we can see that, especially those of us with lots of kids, realize that when we're outnumbered, some things change. And so the parenting style and the rules and all things with the first may be different with subsequent children. And even with identical twins, children in a family have a difference in how they experience their family and just how they experience life in general. I actually interviewed some young men that I know in my life. They're friends of my children, and they're identical twins. And when I was talking to them, they were talking about how even though they have identical DNA, they still have a lot of differences in how they experience the world around them. I asked them some questions about what are ways that people expect them to be the same that they're not. And some of the things were interesting in that they're not the same height. And they have differences in their physical strength. And part of those things are from, or the physical strength at least, is partially from experiences, and how you use your body makes a difference. And so I just wanted to thank them. Thanks, Matt and Josh, for being willing to share with me. Another part of the way that they experience things differently is based on their experiences with their family and with their friends. And they express having different interests, and even things like hairstyles and different ways in which they are separate and unique individuals. From birth, we are learning and growing. Each situation that we experience teaches us. Even the way that toys for young children are created have this cause and effect type of principle in them. I remember when my kids were young, we had this toy that had, these 5 different things you could do. And when you did them, like one was a button that you pushed, and then this character would pop up, and another was a switch you would flip, and a different character would pop up. But just how you would do something and there would be a response. Our experiences give us information that creates our grid of reality. And it either is something that we're using immediately, or it's something that we put on the shelf to pull from later. Our brains are always solving problems, and we use the information that we have acquired through our experience to solve those problems. From childhood and your family, you have a unique experience in life. And here's just a few examples of how that plays out. Do you have a sibling? Do you have multiple siblings? Where are you in the birth order? Did you grow up in a large family or a small family? Is anyone in your family adopted? Did you grow up in a multi-generational family, a single parent family, or a blended family? Did your family celebrate your differences and encourage your opinions? Or in your family were children to be seen and not heard? Was your family religious? Was your family integrated into a larger community? What type of schooling did you have? Public school? Private school? Or maybe you were homeschooled. These are all part of your childhood and make up part of your family culture. Even in your family, your experiences can be very different from one person to another. Your family culture includes social expectations and rules that are your normal. Everything from how physical affection is demonstrated, how often it's shared, comes from your experiences. There's some families that hug when they see each other and hug when they leave. Do you hug or kiss your family members? If so, is it multiple times in a visit, like when you see each other or when you leave? Or is it just on special occasions? Or is it common for someone to put their arm around your shoulder to have a conversation? There are so many areas where we're like fish that we don't even know we're wet because we're submerged in our own family culture. Hi, friends. I have a special gift for you. On my website, leahlittlebrown.com, I have a free resource, a list of values. Over the last several episodes, we've been talking about what makes us unique, and part of that is the things that we value. This value list, it's about 50 different values with the word and then a definition of what that means. I would love for you to get a copy of that list, identify some values that are important to you, and let me know. You can contact me through my website, or you can send me an email. Check it out and let me know what you think. Sometimes included in our family structure is ethnicity. There's a range in each person's sense of ethnicity. For some people, it's a significant defining part of their identity. Others feel it less keenly. Is your ethnic identity tied to your family culture? Some people know a great deal about their personal genetic line and can trace their family across continents and hundreds of years, while others may not know who one or both of their parents are. Whether you grew up surrounded by people of the same ethnicity or were the only one can affect your experiences and how you interpret them. Our pride in our ethnic identity affects how we see ourselves and influences how we respond to others around us. Similar to ethnicity is national or regional cultural identity. Things like patriotic holidays or even holidays like Christmas are celebrated differently in different countries or even different regions of the same country. Like, are you dreaming of a white Christmas? Or singing Mele Kaliki Maka? Your experiences lead you to see yourself and your world differently. If you live in a city, a suburb, or a small town in a rural area, it makes a difference. A large majority of presidents in the last 60 years have been from small towns. In fact, when you look at the amount of presidents that serve 2 terms, it's a ratio of 14-1, small towns versus urban areas. It's crazy. It's just part of that experience. Living in a small town is a very different experience on how you live your life, what you do for yourself, what you depend on other people to do. All of these pieces just give you more information about yourself. We could go on and on looking at our lives past childhood, like did you attend college or a trade school or go straight into the workforce? We could look at work experiences, supervisors, and positions that offer us a plethora of experiences that help to shape who we are. Friendships and romantic relationships can influence our experiences. My mom had a wall hanging, actually, I think it's still hanging in her laundry room, that says, "Friends multiply our joys and divide our griefs." We could also look at how other people see us and how that affects how we see ourselves. We could examine how our successes and failures inform our experiences in life. Just like a patchwork quilt, each experience creates a piece of our overall life experience, which is part of who we are. These experiences are influenced by our personality and by our values, and that is what we'll talk about in our next episode. I really appreciate you joining me and look forward to continuing this relationship via the podcast. I also wanted to let you know that I am starting an in-person Burnout Buster Blueprint course that will meet in Fredericksburg. And this specific session is geared towards moms and helping moms to heal from burnout if they're burnt out and to prevent burnout. And so we're going to have some things that are more structured to what they need. It's a course that will be 6 weeks, starting April 4th and going until May 9th. And I'm limited in the number of seats that I have and would love to have listeners from the podcast to be a part of this class. So please, if you're interested, check out my website, leahlittlebrown.com. I'll have information there for you. I'm looking forward to continuing next episode looking at values and how our values contribute to our uniqueness. Until next time, talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode added kindling to your flame, please leave a review and pass it on to a friend who could use some encouragement. You can connect with me and find additional resources at leahlittlebrown.com. Now go forth and burn in all your brilliance.